Hello, my name is Antoinette. I'm one of the founders of the Women's Entrepreneurial Opportunity Project Incorporated. And we're about having these, what we call the empowerment workshops. We invite our WEOP members in to talk about what they're doing, to share their travels, to share their strategies, to talk about contracts. So I'm so happy to have one of our longtime members, Hermence, and she is a trailblazer. Hermence, I think we've been knowing each other now. How long has it been?
Yes, 4 years now.
4 years, as you came in as a WEOP member. And Hermence has been so active in our community. She takes our classes, our workshops. She's a big part of all of our networking. So first, I want to say thank you, Hermence, for being one of our members. And also thank you for taking time, because being a member is all about sharing strategies. And you know how sometimes people are scared to share how they're doing business. But one thing I do like about the WEOP community and the WEOP family is the fact that our members are really about networking and sharing what they're doing. So I want to thank you, Hermence, for coming in and sharing your strategies on doing international business. And I thought this was a great topic because, of course, we're trying to get more contract opportunities. We're trying to expand out. In 2022, we're trying to just do everything we can do as business owners. So thank you for coming in and sharing strategies about how to do international business, because I'm always amazed and excited about all the wonderful things that you're doing. So thank you. And we're going to start the conversation.
I am so happy to be with you today and to be able to share my passion for global international business, right? And so if you know anything about me, you know that I love to travel. And more importantly, I love to connect with people. And so today I'm going to tell you how I do so and how you can do the same. All right. So first, though, because I am a trainer, and that is one of the things that my consulting services is traveling around the world and training people, training corporations and organizations, their workforce. I always do icebreakers. So having said that, I need all of you to take out a piece of paper and a pen. And I'd like for you to answer these questions. So first one is, if you had a choice, would you travel back in time to meet your ancestors or go to the future to meet your descendants? So just put A or B and, quickly, answer these questions. Would you rather lose all your money or all your pictures? Would you give up your smartphone or your computer? Would you live where it snows or where the temperature doesn't fall below 100 degrees? Would you rather be in a meeting with people who only speak one language, or be a speaker at a conference where you must communicate in another language? And then 6, would you rather lead a team of 5 people from different cultures? So like be the CEO and have a team, a diverse team, or manage a $2 billion program? So the reason I ask these questions is, you'll see, they're actually connected to your drive for wanting to do international development work and being capable of international business, right? And being capable of doing that with diverse cultures. So would someone like to share, what was your answer for number 2? Lose all your money or all your pictures? Who had, yes?
I picked lose all my pictures because I feel like losing all my money would definitely have some problems.
Okay.
It never says you can never take pictures again, so I think.
Okay, so thank you for sharing that. So for me, ironically, I have lost all my money working before, but I was more upset when I lost my entire camera, right? Someone stole my camera and I had no pictures to show all the great experiences and the work that I was doing in that particular country.
Wow.
Right? And so for me, money will come, right? For me, right? It'll come. But those memories that I captured and that other people captured of me in front of an audience connecting was then lost, right? So that would be my answer. Who else? What about, would you rather be in a meeting with people who only speak one language, or a speaker at a conference where you must communicate in another language?
Hermence, I chose B. I'd rather be a speaker at a conference where you must communicate in another language.
Tell me why.
Well, primarily because having to learn another language for other cultures, it really shows your level of appreciation, and it debunks a lot of stereotypes of what it is to be an American, because Americans are considered to be so egotistical and unwilling to learn something new and go beyond their realm of comfort. So it shows a great level of respectability when you attempt to learn something that's completely different than what you're accustomed to.
Exactly. So this idea, you know, if you're choosing to do work globally, it is really important to develop a comfort level where you're in a space where your language of preference is not being spoken. Even if the people there speak English, they may prefer to speak their native language. I just came back from doing work with the State Department in Italy, where they told me that, you know, there wouldn't be a problem. I would be facilitating, which I did, facilitate and presenting in English. Everyone spoke English, right? And most of them spoke English perfectly. However, Italian is their native language. And you could easily see the comfort in that. And so for me, it was important to be comfortable around individuals who were speaking another language and not feel like they were speaking about me. You know, I don't know about you. I've been in, like, there are times when I go get my toes done or whatever, and the people working are speaking in, you know, their native language. And some of the clients really get upset about, why can't they just speak English? Well, that's their comfort level. Why do they have to speak English? And then the thing is, they're not talking about you, right? And so it's really important to be comfortable. And the last thing, last one, would you rather lead a team of 5 people from different cultures or manage a $2 billion program or project? Who had lead a team of 5 people from different cultures? Anyone? Well, here's the thing. When you're working with partners globally, you may be asked, your job or your consulting service may be to actually bring people from different cultures together to get them to do a particular task, right? A particular service. Like, that might be your consulting gig. So you have to be able to be comfortable being able to work with, manage, lead people from diverse cultures, right? Because a lot of the organizations that I work with actually have, you know, a workforce that's diverse, even if it's in a particular country. So I did this exercise just for you to be able to see, like, can this be for you, right? And what you need to do to go throughout your comfort level. So I'm going to speed it up. This is me in a nutshell, right? I'm Hermence Matsosta, but I put these images here because first, I am the daughter of Mignongi Flavienne, and she is a Gabonese woman who left her small village, decided to break away and marry an American and come here to the United States, right? And so she's fierce. And so the reason I travel the way I do is because of this woman here, right? This idea of connecting with other people from different cultures and learning. That's my daughter. And I guess it continues because she loves to travel, has her passport and everything, but she's trying to go to the moon and Mars. So she's going beyond, right? And then, of course, my husband, he's there. So this is who I am, in addition to being an entrepreneur who does business work, but this is who I am first. And because of the support of my husband and my mother and my daughter, I'll say my daughter, I've been able to freely, you know, travel. And so for me, and I think I've left out some countries actually, but this is what my global consulting work looks like. These are the places I've worked. Some have been long-term, not long-term, but some have been more than 3 months, 6 months. Others have been a week. Others have been going and presenting. I'm a technical trainer. And so there've been times, like for Nigeria, I was there for 3 weeks, helping healthcare practitioners do community engagement, right? Helping them when it comes to like figuring out how best to get communities to buy into the work that they're doing and the services that they're providing. Central America, I've done some work in Haiti. So as you see here, for me, when it comes to global work and consulting in my consulting services, it's vast. It's the whole globe. I'm willing, like if someone was to call me today and say, Hermence, we need you in Australia next week. Could you come? All I need to know is how much are you paying me and are you covering all the costs? I'll be there, right? So you have to be willing to go outside of your comfort zone.
Hermence, can you go back to that slide for a second? I want to ask you a few questions.
Yes.
Okay, so give us an idea, because you can kind of bring this to life for people on the call, so they can kind of visualize what type of work you're doing. So for example, give us an idea of the work that you did in Norway.
Right, okay, so in Norway is a recent work. So and you'll see LinkedIn, I was approached by someone in LinkedIn to go to Norway, this program called Tech Camp. It's with the State Department, and to actually teach about partnerships, right? How to create global partnerships, business partnerships, right? And so I went, and there were young entrepreneurs, all ranging from the age of 18 to I think 30 years old, right? And for a week, I not only did a training on how to create business partnerships, I also mentored and coached them on how to create their business plan and to be able to make those connections, right? And this was an opportunity that just came up because on my LinkedIn page, as one of the strategies, I have keywords in there like global, international, multicultural, right? There are keywords that you need to put in your LinkedIn profile and your social media profile that literally speaks to you wanting to or willing to go overseas and do work, right? People and these corporations, these organizations are willing to pay you to come to them, right? Now that the world is opening up, a lot of them are willing to do that. Okay.
Okay.
And go ahead.
What did you do? What did you do in France?
So, okay. So in France, I worked with, so I was asked to come and with UNESCO. So UNESCO is the hub basically for education, right? Global education, so UN agency. And so there was twofold. I was asked to come and work with the director of the Education for All program and to assist her because of my experience in Africa. There were a lot of the heads leading the education program. My consultancy was to really help her translate the importance of education for all and help them understand that they needed to budget part of their DGP to education. And so because I speak 3 languages, I basically did the translation. I got paid to translate and to be able to negotiate and convince these individuals that they needed to put some money towards education. Yeah.
What about Cameroon? What was your project in Cameroon?
Cameroon was a health project. So in Cameroon, I trained immunization, public health professionals on community engagement and vaccinations. And so how to get into community, how to talk to a woman and really get her to understand first why it's important to vaccinate her children. Because what happens is a lot of doctors and epidemiologists, they go in and just tell people what they should be doing, as opposed to really understanding where the hesitancy is when it comes to vaccination and giving and explaining what the benefits are. So I went in first, trained, worked with Cameroonian and Central American DRC health professionals, and then together we went in. And so I provide that technical assistance.
So looking at your consulting journey, if you could kind of recap, like overall, your projects are to train, to educate. Give us kind of a recap of, and one of your most enlightening experiences with your projects.
So my projects is really, I'm a technical trainer, and I tell people that my goal is I am a facilitator, right? I'm that bridge between not knowing and knowing and acquiring the resources to do what you do best. And I do that for a workforce. So let's say CDC needs leadership and technical training, but they want it done overseas, right? So before with them, because of COVID, I was doing it overseas, but virtually. But there have been times, but prior to COVID, I was actually going there to the different countries, right? So I will come, and because I have that training background, and assess the workforce and then provide them training, right? So I've done that in just about all the countries. I do cross-cultural communication training, team building, community engagement, of course, public health. And so those are the key things that I do my trainings on. How to get people to work together, hence Ubuntu, this idea that people need to come together in order to solve problems. So those are my services. And of course, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And Hermence, talk about how I guess you call yourself trilingual?
Yes, trilingual. And that is one of the strategies that, can I move from the slide?
Sure.
Okay, so that is definitely one of the strategies that I encourage if you're ready to work and do business overseas. Learn the language. You don't have to perfect the language, right? But pick a language. And what I did in the past, I'd spin the globe, my finger would land on it, and then I would say, if I do my research and be like, you know what, I want to go to this country. What language do they speak? What's their culture like? And have that cultural intelligence and cultural humility. And then I would start making the connections that are necessary. And like I said, create that web presence. So on LinkedIn, let people know that you are open to traveling. You're open to doing business overseas, that you have a desire to work beyond the US borders, right? And more importantly, that what you provide, your services, can help solve a problem that people in that particular country or that corporation or business have, right? Believe it or not, they have very similar concerns and problems that need to be solved that we have here. Is just that culture aspect makes a difference, because they want to know that you understand their reality before they bring you in to work with their people, right? Let your current contacts know you want to go globally, right? Believe it or not, you may have contacts that have done work overseas, right? Who are looking for partnerships, who are looking to do certain things, who want to team up with Americans to do that work, right? And research international development agencies and corporations. You want to connect with organizations who employ multicultural, multinational workforce. They're the ones who are paying, right? Because they want that American perspective, but they also want someone who understands the fact that the world is now connected, right? So reach out for those organizations or corporations who are selling a product across their borders. They want someone to come in. They love that American connection. One of the things that has really helped for me is to go on the US Department of State website. On their website, they have a list of all the American embassies around the world. And then within those American embassies, the cultural affairs, the Bureau of Cultural Affairs. And once you get to the Bureau of Cultural Affairs of that particular country, it literally lists all the projects that they're doing. The contact information, who are the corporations or businesses that they're working with in that country. And literally, you can just go connect with those individuals. Of course, do your research and find opportunities. For example, if you're a speaker, the Department of State has a speakers program and I can share that website, and you go on there and you put in your information, there's a website, an email that you can send your information, your speaker one sheet. And if they have opportunities in a particular embassy and they're looking for speakers, they could reach out to you. And so right there is an opportunity to go overseas. Another, educate yourself on global issues. I already said that, to solve a problem. Please go with this idea that you are helping to solve a problem that the client, the international client needs. Not, Americans are known to go in and it's all about capitalism. Yes, capitalism really is important in other places, but for them, it's very much about solving that problem first, right? So humility is really important. And in a cultural intelligence, understand the cultural differences around the globe. Know that a lot is happening overseas, and there's a lot of great opportunities there, and it's not just here in the US. Learn about the business culture, the laws, and the permits. This is really important, and how you can find out if you go to the Department of State, once again, that's the hub to find out what type of permits you will need in order to do business, right? What are the loopholes that you're going to have to go through? What are the forms and the paperwork that you'll need to complete, right? So because if the State Department or an American organization or corporation is not hiring you or partnering with you to do this consulting work, and you're working directly with an organization in that particular country, you 9 times out of 10, unless they already have some kind of contract with the particular government, you might need to get a permit, especially if it's products that you're trying to, it's not services, but products. If you're trying to sell a particular product, you will need to find out what the laws are, the permits that are needed in order to do that, right? And then, very important, deliver by keeping your client's best interests in mind. Don't make it all about you, make it about your client. And that's anywhere. It's not just, overseas and doing global work, but it's, that applies to here too, but it's even more importantly overseas, because in a lot of cultures, it's about building relationships, and it's about keeping those relationships. Those relationships are kept when people are honest and true about their intentions. Okay. And so quickly, there are qualities I think that have helped me, and I think would help consultants who want to do business overseas. So communication, right? Regardless of what language, verbal and written communication has to be strong, right? Emails, you have to be respectful in your emails, your communication, all of that. Even if there's difficulty with the language, always be respectful. Learn a foreign language. Pick one. There's so many. If you want to do most of your work in South America, learn Spanish. Learn Spanish. There are various opportunities. If the work that you want to do is in Africa, partnerships in Africa, English, French, Portuguese. Those are 3 main languages that are the working languages that are common, right? And Swahili is another one also. Pick a language, learn it. Because once you're there, when you show that you've tried, people are willing to work with you. Teamwork and negotiation skills. If you're, I like to work by myself and it's all about me kind of person, this may not be the work for you, right? Or doing this work overseas may not be for you, because it's all very much about team. I already spoke about cultural intelligence. Client first mindset is really important. And this is a big one. Flexibility and adaptability. Time management is wonderful here. Like we really, we think time management is everything. When you step foot in another country, realize that you have to be flexible, because different places, different cultures, when it comes to time, it's on a different level, right? So things change quickly, and be ready for that. And then conversational leadership skills. If you're asked to come in to present or to lead a project or to show how leadership is done, do it, but don't do it in a way that everyone has to follow you. Leadership is really about co-leadership, right? It's co-working with each other. It's that Ubuntu philosophy of connecting with each other. And then have that strong work ethic, meaning if you say you have a product or a service, deliver on that service. So then then you can get more business, because internationally, people are so connected. And if you do well with one organization, they will tell others who will tell others. And before you know, you'll have a lot of people knocking on your door asking you to travel and come overseas. And so those are my strategies. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I will share with Antoinette the the links and website addresses for the different places that I go when I'm looking for consulting opportunities. But really work on that LinkedIn page. Make sure that it has global somewhere in your profile, international somewhere, and that you are meeting the problems, and start posting about things that are happening outside of the United States. That will get the attention of different corporations and businesses. Okay, and remember Ubuntu. Ubuntu is really the philosophy that I thrive on. And when I'm working with individuals, it's all about connection, right? It's about providing the service, but it's all about connecting with people on a human level and seeing them, regardless of our differences, seeing them as my brother and sister, my colleague, and really this understand that we are coming together to be able to solve problems and to provide services to each other, and not me giving or telling. And that for me, when I work with people, I'm also being poured into. And that is really important when you work with people from different cultures. They want to know that they're also providing you and helping to make you grow. All right, so that's a couple of strategies in the short run. And any questions? Yes?
Hermence, what languages do you speak?
So I speak French, Spanish, English, of course, and Portuguese. I understand Portuguese. I can't speak it fluently because every time I try to speak it, I end up speaking Spanish. And I did my latest trip that I just took a month ago, Italian. I didn't realize how much I understood until I was there. But again, Italian, because they're, the Romance languages, I'll speak it, and then all of a sudden French and Spanish will go in there. But they appreciated the fact that I tried. So I'm determined to master Portuguese and Spanish, Portuguese and Italian. So that will make it 5.
Hermence, take down your presentation for us so we can go full screen.
All right.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay.
Yes.
So now that we have you.
Was that too fast? Was that too fast, or was that fine?
No, I think it was fine. I think part of this is us having conversation, because I know there's a few other women on the call that are interested in doing international business. And I mean, while we have you, if anybody has any questions or conversation about strategies, I think this is a great time to have a great discussion. One thing that I did notice that you said about one of the points was being culturally sensitive. I noticed that in one of the pictures, sometimes when you do international business, you have to almost maybe think, as you do your research, think about how you dress and just being, so can you speak a little bit about that? Because that's very, very important. And I noticed that you're trilingual, but can you still do business if you only know English and a little bit of Spanish? Can you speak a little bit about that? Because
yes,
that's a biggie.
Yes, you can. And or, they're open to, they understand, put it this way. Most people outside of the United States understand that Americans only speak English. Okay, it's kind of sad, but yes, they understand that, right? And so it just gives you an edge if you do speak another language, right? But yes, if you're an English speaker, yes, of course, because most of the other other people speak English, right? The thing is, you have to be honest, right? When you are starting that connection, that English is the only language that you speak and that you would be doing business in English, right? You have to be honest from the beginning. But
Okay.
yes, there are a lot of opportunities. And then, I mean, you know, in Europe, people are taught English in most countries from kindergarten on. So a lot of them are very proficient in English.
And I noticed that you've been a student of our WEOP federal contracting class. And I know that the State Department is a federal agency. So can you speak on, did you leverage any of your WSBs in terms of trying to secure those contracts as a woman-owned small business?
Yeah, so they actually reached out to me, and they did ask me the questions though. They asked me if I was a woman-owned small business, and now
you say they reached out. You're saying the state.
The State Department reached out to me, but what I do know is that before they reached out to me, they did check to see if I was registered, and if they did all of their background check first. So it is very helpful to have your stuff in order, right? And then they reached out to me, right? So they're going to do their homework too. So,
and when you use the terms to have your stuff in order, we basically, so if you're thinking about working with a federal agency that's doing international work, we recommend that you get registered in the System for Award Management and that you get your SBA certification. So basically, even doing international work, getting in SAM and getting those certifications with the SBA is very advantageous. So when we talk about having your stuff together, that's specifically what we're talking about. So we encourage all of our entrepreneurs to make sure that you have that in order, so you can work with the federal agencies that are doing international work, which might be another strategy. Hermence, would be to reach out to look at the forecast reports for the federal agencies that are doing this, because they're even doing a lot of entrepreneurial training.
They are.
Like I have one of our colleagues is going to Saudi Arabia, and she's going to be doing an entrepreneurship training program. Right. So these are opportunities that are like that we probably, some of the entrepreneurs on the call maybe just didn't think about, that you can do training development in other countries, especially taking those skills that you have learned in the US.
And even if one thing that I've done is when you go, if you can find the contracting officer, connect with them on LinkedIn. Introduce yourself on LinkedIn, because the opportunity may not be posted, but if you introduce them, you build that relationship with them, they'll remember you. You tell them what services you provide and what you're interested in, then they can remember you and tell you, oh, in a week or 2 weeks, something's gonna be on SAM, right? That's happened before too. And so it's really important to build those relationships, but have everything in order so that when they're ready, because a lot of times when they say they're ready, they're ready. Like for Italy, that I got 2 weeks notice for that. That's how quick it went. So it's right. But you did mention about dressing, right? That's when knowing, having cultural intelligence, cultural humility, knowing how people do business in a particular country and the impact that customs and culture has. So you'll see, like when I was in Nigeria, there was a particular way I had to dress, greet people, as a woman, I didn't change who I am, but I respected the customs. And that's really important. Knowing the customs and how people do business, and dress is very much that.
We have a hand up from Keisha.
Yes.
And she's our first WEOP meeting. Okay, Keisha, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for this presentation. I've really gotten so much from it. In fact, I've already been to, that's my question. I'm on the State Department's website, and I've looked up a few countries, the programs that they have going on to see how I can plug myself in. But you mentioned uploading or submitting your Speaker One sheet to the State Department. And this is very practical, so if you don't know offhand, that's fine. but where am I going? I did the search bar, I searched for speaker, I don't quite see it.
So if you go to, it's a US Speakers Program.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. And so what you do though is that you send an email first, and then they will send you either a link or who to send your Speaker One information to. And I have that person's contact. So if you
Oh.
stay in touch with me, I can, possibly make that introduction.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna leave it open to anybody else who has questions. We have Minyi.
Yeah, so I actually had a few questions, and great presentation, by the way. I really learned a lot. So for someone who maybe doesn't have the same amount of experience internationally as you do, how would you demonstrate some of like the more abstract skills and qualities you were talking about, like cultural intelligence and humility and like client first mindset? How would you demonstrate that to potential employers with less experience?
Okay, so the first thing I would do is be interested in who they are, right? So for example, what's your field of interest?
Well, currently, I'm in the process of making a startup with an international team. We're still in the very early stages of that. So, and I'd say my long-term goal is to really learn as much as I can about the business world and be able to like, hopefully like do consulting, provide as much as I can. And I think that would be a really fulfilling pathway for me.
Right. So what I would suggest is you look up Fulbright. So Fulbright is an organization that sends, and because college students, so eventually you'll be a college student, you could go overseas and do work, research, teach English or whatever, start off like that. There's Peace Corps after you finish college, but there's also internships, right? Look, there are various different internships, and a lot of international development organizations love to bring in interns.
Hermence, you made a really interesting point about speaking about doing international work and setting yourself up like doing infopreneuring, like a subject matter expert, to me, might be a great strategy into doing international work. Could you speak a little bit about that?
Yes, definitely. Because so for example, there are a lot of corporations who want to know how to do work in the US, right? You could come up with an info sheet, go on Canva, strategies to working in the United States, and post that. Strategies to connecting with other business entrepreneurs in the United States. Like because they're looking for ways to get into this market, right? And so, and creating so that, and they're looking for, a lot of organizations want information, they want content, right? They want how to. So if that could, if you really want to start connecting, you can start there. And then if you're promoting that and putting that on your LinkedIn website, your social media, it's going to get the attention of people and corporations who want to partner with Americans.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah. Does that answer your question a little bit about the info? So, and then you can, you can create, I know some of you guys are coaches and, and so when you have your mastermind, like let's say you create a mastermind, it wouldn't hurt to make it a global mastermind.
Okay.
Right. And bringing, people and allowing people from different cultures, because a lot of times if they're interested in leadership coaching, right? Leadership coaching mastermind or business coaching mastermind, then they also have connections in their country.
And then that subject matter expert is another strategy, like, because if you're doing articles and you're this expert on that subject,
right,
then you're more apt for people to, but I like the strategy about the LinkedIn. Sometimes we kind of overlook LinkedIn as a strategy for real connections, but I think it's an excellent connection to really boost up that, if you're interested in the global, the subject, to utilize LinkedIn to really push and promote yourself, because a lot of people see you. I get so overwhelmed with LinkedIn going on and getting all the messages. It's just too much for me.
Yeah. And the thing about LinkedIn is you can translate your text into the whatever language.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So you can do that, or what you can also do is Google, like let's say Department of Health in the UK. And so once you get in there, a lot of what's going to be coming on your feed is stuff from that particular country. And they're going to start seeing your post in that particular country. Because now that I've been in Norway and Italy just recently, I get feed and information of things that are happening in Italy, things that are happening in Norway. People are connecting me that weren't even part of this event that I was in. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay, we're going to start winding down, but I wanted to make sure that everybody on the call had, if they had a question. Oh, no, Simone came. Hey, Simone, you came back. Okay. So
Listen, I came back and I came off mute because I do have a question.
okay, great.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn it over to you to fire away.
Yes. So yes, this was a great conversation, and you actually like spot on talked about where I'm headed in my business, because I know how powerful how transformative and powerful travel and international travel can be, especially for us as Black women. And so my question is around engaging local communities, right? Like there are tons of digital nomad programs, there are tons of expat programs, but a lot of them, I don't feel like they do a great job of engaging the local community, whether it's through commerce or through, giving back and helping. So to that end, as far as like coaching, consulting, mastermind type of programming, do you have any insight or recommendations about how to go about building authentic relationships in these countries that you'll want to be doing business?
I'd say go on kayak, find a ticket, get on a plane, and go for a week and build the relationships on the ground. You have to be willing to leave here and get on the ground if that's who the people who you want to meet, right? And so, for example, there's a lot of African Americans who are leaving the US and going to Ghana, right? Why? Because Ghana is booming right now. Or it's always been booming, but they've opened their doors up to, like, if you're an African American, you could be considered a refugee with everything that's happening here, right? But a lot of countries, sometimes it's hard, this whole doing it from internet and email and all that. Getting on the ground, because they have to build a relationship with you, see a connection. And so I would really recommend, instead of your next vacation being, to go and just relax on a beach somewhere, your next trip is with purpose. And that purpose is to go, connect, and find someone. Even before you go, you could, look up an organization that does community work, right? And connect with them. But if you don't connect with them, once you get on the ground, go there in person, introduce yourself, and talk about what you do. Most people are going to really appreciate the fact that you came from so far away just to make that connection. Does that help?
Absolutely, ma'am. I'm touching down in Colombia in a couple months. So.
Okay.
And when you go to Colombia, let me know, because I have a contact in Cali, Colombia. So someone who's doing activist kind of work. So when you go, we can connect you with that particular group in Cali.
Yeah.
So,
And Colombia's on my list too. So
let me know too, Marissa.
Yes, Colombia's on my list.
Also, what I learned recently was there is a host of what they call remote work programs. And like, I have a colleague who's doing a remote work program in Barbados. And she took a sabbatical. She went to Barbados. They're paying her because what they're saying is some of the islands this is an economic activity for some of the islands to bring people in so they can make a contribution to their economy with, you know, housing, etc. So that's something new and evolving. So as you do your research, look at some of those remote work programs, because a lot of times, a lot of us is working remote anyway. At some of these islands where they invite you in with the housing, you can live on an island. She's in Barbados right now, which is the best of both worlds. They're paying her to talk about the impact. She's doing a research on the impact of remote work on the economy for that island. I mean, what? And she's doing it for a whole year. What better way?
And then I'm also going to add, in fact, just yesterday, one of my, she used to be, she's no longer, but she worked for the South Africa business, women's business bureau that they have there. And how I met her is through a networking event, but she invited me to, each year they have this big event here in the United States, here in Atlanta, where they bring women entrepreneurs here to the United States so that they can learn and get certain skills and everything. And they love to pair up with women entrepreneurs, American entrepreneurs, and they have this big gala and this big event, right? And so she and I, COVID kind of disrupted that, but she was like, if you can get a good amount, if you can get some American entrepreneurs, Black women in particular, I'm willing to fix things, you know, make it happen so that we go there instead of them coming here. Right? Okay. And so she just called, I haven't spoken to her in like a year or so. So she just reached out to me yesterday. But those are the kind of opportunities that do exist, especially if a lot of the women entrepreneurs do product-based, you know, services. And so they're selling jewelry, they're doing all these things like that. And they're always looking for partners, American partners.
So yeah. Hermence, we need to talk about the WEOP family, how we can get involved.
Exactly. So I'm going to reach out to her. I'm going to have that conversation with her. Like I said, she just sent me, like I saw a text message. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I want to thank Kimberly, is your microphone on, Kimberly Carswell?
Yes, it's on now.
Okay, because she made a really good thing. First of all, thank you for the compliment. And she said that she uses Ubuntu in her leadership program. So Kimberly, can you share that with us?
Yes, I actually, I've worked with the King Center for Nonviolence and Southern SCLC, and I just launched a leadership program called Kintsugi, and it's based on a Japanese concept of broken pottery or clay. But what they do is they take a precious metal like gold or platinum, and they mend it together, and it becomes artwork. Right. And so with conflict, I call it conflict mending. We know that things are chipped and broken, but to use that philosophy in corporate America, and how do we build a stronger relationship, especially in race relations, diversity, equity, and most importantly, belonging, which deals with racism and tribalism. And with that, I infuse Ubuntu, that three-legged arm of respect, humility, and community. So I'm thoroughly excited about this session. I'm actually traveling in Texas at the moment. Even when you mentioned the South Africa, I have a number of contacts who are in entrepreneurship in Goldman Sachs, who may be able to join your Legion of Women going to South Africa for that conference. So just wonderful. We met briefly in Emory. I know you probably can't see my face, but wonderful, wonderful session.
That's awesome, Kimberly. Yeah, because I looked at you now, I was like, that sounds familiar. But please put your contact information if you haven't done so. I want to connect with you because, you know, as you said, you use Ubuntu, and that is, you know, the name of my company is Ubuntu, right? Ubuntu speaks, and having grown up with that philosophy, I really want to see how you're incorporating that, and see if possible we can partner to do some work.
Absolutely.
And even take that, you know, out, get on a plane and take it somewhere else.
Globally, yes, yeah. Absolutely.
And Kimberly, I'm going to connect with you soon as well, because we haven't talked in a while. And I know
Yes,
you do some
ma'am.
amazing leadership things, so we need to connect to see how we can pump up the volume a little bit with our relationship with WEOP.
Yeah. Antoinette, can I
okay.
say one thing before we close out?
Of course,
So
of course. This is your
did
show.
you did say in the beginning that this is also a networking event for all of us, right?
Yes.
So I want us to be able to support each other, and I know how I would love for you to support. So you came to this presentation, and if you really enjoyed it, you feel like you got something out of it, I kindly ask that you go on my LinkedIn page and share, right, what you learned from it. And I don't know if you took pictures or anything like that. I could send you like the picture of the presentation itself, and you tag me on it. And then I, in return, will tag you because my network is pretty vast now. Tag you and say something about the fact that you would like to also work overseas, right? Also have these business opportunities. And then people can click on and then see your profile and see where they fit. So we can help each other in that way.
And also make sure you go on WEOP Inc., our Instagram, and make a comment about the value of the workshop.
Yes.
And I have everybody that's on the call in the email. So we usually send out a thank you. And we want to keep the networking going. So we are going to have a virtual networking event next week that we will invite everybody on the call to our virtual networking event next week. It's really growing because we're having women come from all over. So one thing about the virtual world is that we can connect with women in other states that they would not normally be able to come in person.
Right.
But this was a great call. I hope that everybody in the call received some kind of value. And I like these kind of calls because they're very conversational. And we have some amazing women that are willing to share their information and their expertise, which is so, so important. So I want to thank Hermence. My internet stalled for a second, but Hermence, I want to thank you for providing your valuable knowledge and information. And we really appreciate you. I saw it again. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I was thanking Hermence. It looks like my internet keeps going in and out, but thank you for your valuable information, knowledge. And thank you all for attending today. And we'll send you out a notice about our networking next week. And you know how to reach out to us. And with that, we're going to say farewell. But thank you.
Right,
Thank you
take
for
care.
coming.
And I'll send the presentation. I'll send it to you.
Okay, great.
And then you can share with everyone.
And we have a YouTube channel, so please tune into our YouTube.
All right.
Okay,
Take
will
care.
do. Take
Okay.
care.